Can you feel the government's hand tighten around our necks? Control, power grabs, advancing their authority over every area of life. I can't help it. I can't help noticing a pattern of conflict where it seems like the little guy, the underdog, got one over on the man, the ones in control. And then it happens. The grip gets tighter. The power expands. Dominion is furthered. This is going to be a really important show because I think this is a pattern that we've been seeing and will continue to see going forward, and we have to be wise and discerning at the times, not to be overcome with fear, not to be paralyzed, not to be apathetic, but to be wise and know the times that we live in, to prepare, to be responsible, and to act appropriately. That is to say, to act in a way that is glorifying and pleasing to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Nothing else matters than that. And under that guise of Jesus is Lord, there are certain responsibilities and ways that we ought to act and should act. And that is why we need to be thinking about these things. Welcome to the show, How to Build a Tent. My name is Matt Williams, part of the Fight, Laugh, Feast Network, where we declare the lordship of Jesus over every area of life, despite what the censors say, despite what YouTube thinks, despite what the government thinks, because ultimately Jesus is King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and that is what we proclaim in every area of life. If you want to support that, help us build out our platform, help us build out our content, become a member, flfnetwork.com, put an HTB in a memo field to get a sweet mug like the one behind me. You get tons of other benefits. You can email me, matt@howtobuildatent.com. Find me on all the social media sites, How to Build a Tent. I apologize for a couple shows in the past week that have only been coming out of one ear. There were some updates on the software that I use, and I didn't catch it. I'm sorry. I believe I fixed it, and going forward, it'll be good. I appreciate everyone who reaches out to me and tells me the issues so that I can know and figure it out. So thank you for everyone that, and apologize for the issues if that is an inconvenience for you. The first thing, and I got a lot of people asking me about this, and this is another one of those things, and it really feels like QAnon in a way. It feels like the Proud Boys in a way. And remember, or I don't know if you've heard this. I shouldn't say remember. You may have not heard this yet. It turns out the leader of the Proud Boys was an FBI informant and helping police after he got arrested in 2013, I believe it was. Is we feel like the little guy has overcome, that David has beaten Goliath, that the little guy has stuck it to the man. The blue collar workers have stuck it to the man, and we cheer and we get excited and we get encouraged, only to have the grips tightened. I feel like that happened a lot with QAnon. The Patriots are in control, but really it was just the government doing a psyop on us. And now they are censoring, deplatforming, blocking, flagging those who believe those things, who purported to believe those things. Some well-meaning, good people, hopeful people. The Proud Boys. Yeah, finally someone's going to stand up to Antifa. Finally, we have a leader that is going to fight back against the people that are destroying our businesses, that are hurting people physically. Turns out to be an FBI informant. This is the latest story of along those same lines, a different area, a different place, but the same kind of thing. GameStop. The company with a business model of yesterday, selling the technologies of Super Nintendo, selling games from a disc, selling games from a physical platform, when games are now downloaded, when games are played on phones. And is now being valued at astronomical numbers. And this is why. There are people called short sellers. This one in particular, Citron, Citron, who will short stocks that they believe are going to lose value. That is, they're going to make money through options, through short selling, through things that we're not going to get into right now because it doesn't matter. But basically there are financial instruments that allow you to make money when a stock goes down. It's not just you only make money when stocks go up. The Big Short was a movie along those same lines regarding the financial crash in 2008. And what people like Citron do is with their institutional money is they will make bets that the stocks are going to go down. And then they do things like go on Fox Business, go on CNBC, go on all of these business TV shows and give reason after reason why the stock of that company is going to go down. And they hear it on TV. Other institutional investors hear it and, oh my gosh, we better sell. We better get out of the stock. And then that causes the stock market to go down. And so it's like a positive self-fulfilling prophecy. You see how the game works? Is they take institutional money and short a stock, and they take it and then they use media, TV, their special access that no one else gets to make money. And then there was a group who decided no more. I hear it's a Reddit post with a Discord group of 200,000 what they call retail investors. That is everyday investors, people that aren't institutional. They don't invest other people's money, but people that have their own money. Well, I don't know if technically the definition of retail is that they don't invest in other people's money. But people with their own money, not the institutions, not the big investors, not the Wall Street fat cats, decided they're going to drive up GameStop. So when this company like Citron, who shorts the stock, goes on and tells people why they shouldn't buy the stock, and they're going to make money off of it. Conversely, when then 200,000 retail investors come in and buy the stock goes up astronomically. People are making hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's stories of people selling because of how fast the stock went up from just average, basically democratized investing, right? Their strategies, they use their systems to drive it up and make money for themselves in a orchestrated fashion, when the institutional investor, Citron, lost, or at one time lost $3 billion from the stock going up, buying out of their short positions, having to be bailed out. While the underdogs, the everyday man, the retail investors, were able to buy their mom a house. That was the story. The big guys, the ones who rigged the market, the ones who were in control, they lost billions. Well, the everyday man got to buy their mom a house. And that feels good. It feels good that those, just like when we think that those in the big government, in the deep state, they're going to finally feel justice. It feels good to believe that. Just like the Proud Boys, it feels good that Antifa's getting punched back. It feels good that those controlling the markets lost billions while we got to pay for a house for our mom. Do you know what's the result of this? Is the government is going to assert their power, assert their dominion. They're already talking about new regulations to keep these things from happening. And don't you think the totalitarians are more than happy to keep people like you and me without our license, without the stock market, Wall Street access that they have from us being able to buy and sell as we choose? Buy and sell companies as we choose. These things never stand. Either we completely wipe out the totalitarians, either we completely wipe out the big state, or they're coming back for us just like they have been doing in every other battle that we felt good about, like we had a chance in the last couple of months. Be warned, this act will not go unpunished. There were already threats by NASDAQ and other indices that they were going to halt trading. There is already threats that they're going to deplatform companies like Robinhood. This is not the end of the story. And I hear they're already talking about going after silver next, that they're going to inflate silver to what they believe the price should be. Remember, the institutional investors, I did a little whistle there, the institutional investors, they represent government, unions, 401ks, and other big money who has all the influence to regulate us, to control us. And just like the FBI arrested someone from 2016 within a week of Joe Biden, being president, the FBI went back to 2016's election race and arrested someone for a meme joking about if you want to vote, you can vote by phone for Hillary Clinton. How many people have the FBI arrested for the fraud, the provenable fraud this election? I don't know of any that the FBI has arrested, but they, within a week, with the quickness, go after conservatives from 4 years ago. This is going to be a very dirty fight. And until the enemy is vanquished, they are going to come back harder than what we think. They're going to come back harder when we think we've won. And we need to prepare and be wise for that, like I said in the beginning of the show. If Joe Biden wanted to destroy this country and tear it apart, is there anything different that he would do his first week in office? Is there anything different? That's a good question to be asking ourselves. Let's talk about Samaritan Ministries. We all know how important healthcare is, especially when it comes to medical emergencies like the one experienced by Josh, who in an unexpected moment fell 86 feet from the side of a rock. It was a miracle he survived. The medical bills were many, but the prayers and financial support received from fellow Samaritan members reassured Josh and his family that they were not alone. Josh had a choice in his medical treatments and doctors, and as a Samaritan member, you will too. After care is received, medical bills are sent to Samaritan Ministries, and they notify members across the nation to pray for you and send money to help pay your medical bills. Samaritan Ministries is not insurance. It's biblical, affordable health care sharing. And since they're not bound by open enrollment, you can join today. We all know that a medical emergency can happen at any time. Make sure you're prepared. Visit SamaritanMinistries.org/howtobuildatent to learn more. That's SamaritanMinistries.org/howtobuildatent. Healthcare sharing is a great option alternative to health insurance. Check it out. SamaritanMinistries.org/howtobuildatent. Let's see, I'm going to Gab. If you are not watching my videos on Gab or following me on Gab at Matt Williams, I'm on Gab TV as well because YouTube has taken down 2 of my shows so far. I'm going to be posting there. That is where you're probably going to find me, and not have to worry about shows disappearing. Department of Homeland Security issues new terror advisory on, quote, domestic violent extremists who, quote, object to presidential transition. This is an article from Zero Hedge. On Wednesday, the Department of Homeland Security issued a National Terrorism Advisory System bulletin for the United States. Past updated bulletins in more normal times typically mention not being aware of specific or credible threats, or there's often vague warnings of potential Iranian threat, quote unquote, such as was the case last spring in the wake of a killing of Iranian RGC General Qasemi Soleimani. But this newest DHS posting emphasized the domestic threat of ideologically motivated violent extremists with objections to the presidential transition, a clear reference to the Capitol riot of January 6th, as well as to the predicted follow-up of mass demonstrations and assaults on D.C., which never materialized, resulting in thousands of bored National Guardsmen sauntering around Washington. This is another one that just feels like it was good. The good guys were going to win. They're going to storm the Capitol. National Guard showed up. All these warnings showed up. And now they're issuing advisories for domestic violent extremists that objected to the presidential transition. Why is this worrisome? Is, like it said in the article, there's no specific threat, but just a general vague umbrella to start monitoring us. The new terror advisory, domestic violent extremist. Who determines what a domestic violent extremist is? It's the same people, the same regime who appointed as deputy health secretary or whatever it was, the transgender man who thinks he's a woman. That is the objectivity of this regime. These are the people that get to determine who's a domestic violent extremist, who don't even know who a man or a woman is. That is every single conservative. That's every single Christian. We are the domestic violent extremists. We are the ones who object to a presidential transition to a regime who did not win the election. And like the quickness, these government agencies, I wouldn't say designed, are not run to protect the United States citizens, but to protect the United States government. How else can you explain the FBI within a week of Joe Biden being president, they make an arrest for an election 4 years ago over a meme? How many arrests by the FBI over this last election where proven fraud happened? Election fraud, voter fraud, proven. Be prepared. Be praying. Be repenting. Remember the Bible verse. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face, then I will heal their lands. That is our only recourse. Until then, it's going to look like the little guys get a punch in, but then the hammer's going to come down by our enemies. This is the judgment of God, and our only salvation is in him. We'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless.